Hi, everyone. My name is John Faulkner. I'm your host of the Smarter Systems, Better Care podcast. I'm here today by Shakeeka Misher. She is the founder of Thyrva Wellness, where she empowers women to thrive through perimenopause with strength and balance. Thank you, Shakeeka, for joining us.
Well, thank you for the invite and for having me. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you as well. And just to give our listeners context, just tell us a bit about your background.
So I am Shakeeka Misher. I am a nurse practitioner. I'm doctoral prepared. I have been in nursing for almost like 18 years. It's amazing to kind of think about how fast or maybe slow that time it has went by, but it's went by and I've absolutely enjoyed it. When I got into nursing, it's always been in like the labor, delivery, OB, women's health has always been my love and what I've enjoyed doing. Did some leadership and decided I wanted to go back to school to really be able to impact outcomes from it. Specifically at that time was maternal outcomes for women of color. And enjoyed it of going through school and learning from it and seeing clients from it as well. Transition, from fertility nurse practitioner to what I do now. It's focusing on perimenopause from it. This came to me, I was like it just fell in my lap. But truly it was something I was going through of being that dismissed, heard, you're too young to go through this. And that really gave me an opportunity, like, you know what, I want to be on the other side of this, to be the person that women I didn't have for myself to be able to give that to women from it. And that truly started the revolution there, in addition to clients coming to me and asking questions. And it was like, it was a need, it needed to be filled. So I was happy to join in.
Yeah. And I'm sure there sounds like there's been quite a need to fill in your area as well. And like, what's your core focus of like your work today with clients, and like how do you serve them?
Yes. So my main client is perimenopause, normally around age 35 to 50, but I do see clients younger than that and also older than that as well too. It's a spectrum, but I really help women to feel been feeling dismissed, fused, heard, about their bodies from it, and to help them to get answers and feel seen and take control of their hormonal health, their full health, so they can thrive with confidence and clarity from it. So we sit down one on one, whether it's virtual or face to face, and really discover it, hear their story. Because oftentimes as women, we want to be heard, and we haven't had that experience with the majority of our providers. So you get that with coming to see me, to be just to really to be able to spill out everything, the good, bad, and different things that's been bothering you or things that you just, you kind of kept away and haven't wanted to talk about until then.
What are some of your clients saying about the work that you're doing, like with some of the feedback, just out of curiosity?
Yes. I've gotten very positive feedback from it. Empowering that being feeling heard, because oftentimes we're listening with the intent to respond until fully listening to someone. So for them to be able to share their full story uninterrupted has been a positive feedback from it. They've also loved to be able to have someone they can relate to. Often they feel like they would go to a provider that, have assumptions about it or not have gone through it. So I'm walking this experience with you. Well, I've been able to tailor it not only to you, your society, things around you, your family and support system. And that has been a positive. And that has been the next one, is that being able to bring in their support system. Oftentimes, clients will bring in their partners from it, or even just their children, because they've been having things that's popped up that's impacted their children as well. So this is a community, and we thrive in community. So be able to bring that and have those answers, those questions asked during that, and not to feel rushed has been important.
Yeah, and then specifically with the perimenopause space, I know that's like a larger age range. Is there anything specific within there that you particularly focus on with your patients and clients that you work with?
Yeah, so we take a deep dive into hormones from it. We can look at labs. Always like to say, labs is a point of time. Labs can be normal one day and abnormal the next, and vice versa. So it's being a full spectrum. But we take kind of an approach where I'm diving into like your symptoms and from how they've been feeling. I super encourage, tracking of your symptoms. So oftentimes they'll come in and they've already been tracking, or they've getting a plan together so they can track. And the tracking is important to see how things feel different for you, or even the same throughout the month, and how it may be aligned with your cycle from it. And that's a huge component. The other thing that we focus on a lot is holistic health from it. So what are we eating? How are we, maybe getting our lifestyle? Are we out and moving around? How our job is and impact it. Am I cooking for myself or are we cooking for others as well too? And how does that play into it? We do, if we take a look at labs from it, we're looking at like your thyroid, you're looking at insulin resistance, your ferritin levels, things that can be impacting perimenopause itself. We want to rule out to make sure there's nothing else outside is going on there to be supported from it as well.
Yeah, you're taking like a whole entire view of what's going on. Instead of like it sounds like typical labs, you're like taking a holistic view to your approach.
Yes, which is so key. I always like to say when we think about perimenopause, or it just in general, from it, our hormones are from the top of our head to the bottoms of our feet, and we have those receptors there. So we have impacts all throughout. So it's important to take us. Sometimes, well, we can focus on like this is reproductive. We're just focusing on the uterus or here. They're like, no, let's take a step back and really look at things globally because you can have impacts and things that you wouldn't even imagine.
And when you look at your role specifically, where do you spend the most energy kind of driving your growth? Like what does a day to day look like for you?
Yeah. So day to day, outside of seeing clients, is really being on social media, posting. I have a lot that reach out to me and comments and DMs from what about this or collaboration. And I love that. Teaching is, what I've done as well. A lot with the education, so that spreads out. I've been able just to have that advocacy in teaching. Also, whether been on podcasts or face to face, I do a lot of events in person, which is helpful from it. So oftentimes we can see, especially with our technical environment that we're in now, everything is online and we can get, sometimes you feel like that's that online fatigue from it. And am I talking to a real person or am I not talking to a real person? So that in-person events are super helpful as well as live events that's online to get that personal touch so you don't feel like, and is she a real person or not? But to have that connection. And I build on that a lot is that it's important that you connect with everyone, and especially when you're getting into the personal details of your life, well, to have that connection. And those in-person events are super helpful. I also have my family helps me a lot to in the office from it with getting papers and things ready, prepping, for the next day, or making our gift bags from it. Personal touches with it within the community is important from it. I want you to come in feeling great and leave feeling just as great and even better from it. So that experience and how you captivate that, whether it's in person or virtual, is important to me.
Yeah, you say multiple different methods of ways of reaching out to people, making them feel engaged and heard. It sounds like as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And then like what's looking at the bigger picture, like what's one shift like in the perimenopause space that most leaders are not paying enough attention to?
Yes, I would say that having such a narrow focus on that reproductive, what I mentioned beforehand, Ayrton, looking at labs from it, taking a deep, even like with your thyroid levels, take going beyond just the TSH and looking at your T3, your T4, the whole entire impact. That is, I think, is something that we, as providers as a whole, of having a wake up call to kind of look at in general. Like, yes, this impacts perimenopause, but it impacts our health as a whole and can run into other things. So I think taking that laser focus, view that we may have on just this is reproductive and really expanding it out and how they all kind of intertwine with the other.
Yeah, instead of just focus on like one system or one thing, really kind of put pieces together for them to have a complete idea of where to go next, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And how have you personally adapted like in your own business? Just curious.
From it, so I a lot of education and reaching out and like the research piece of it and learning. I always when I have clients come to me, it's like we are. Which is bi-directional. Each client comes in as like it's a mini case study. From it, everyone has different lab values, different symptoms, and things from it, different experiences and history of that. And that has taught me so much from it, the experience of kind of going through and diving into it because I do spend a lot of time of understanding from that. So that has allowed me to get into the research, looking at different videos from it, reaching out to my colleagues as well too. Like, have you seen this? What have you done? And from it, that collaboration is key and the clarity from that. That's where I learned a lot about like ferritin and like, ooh, like look beyond that, your thyroid from it. That T3 and T4 is doing a lot more than what you think from it. The other thing is like testosterone. Sometimes we think testosterone is just a male thing. Like, no, like women have testosterone as well too, and how that integrates into menopause, how it integrates into our life in general and our drive to do things as well. So it's truly getting back to the basics from it. I'm always learning from it out of school or not. It's opening up and getting those books, studying for certifications and, exploring from it, and then asking that why. Like, why are we doing this from it? Just because we've done it for a long time doesn't mean it's the right thing to continue to do.
Yeah, trying something different, right? You're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at like operations day to day within your business, where do things feel like clunky or kind of slower than you'd like to see?
Yes, like I processes. But starting a business was absolutely, new. I'm from like taking care of clients and seeing them like, oh my gosh, like I've got that experience. But learning from the business side of all the different modalities, like an email list from it. Where's your website held? This is your payment system, and even like labs, like which labs do you pick? There's so many different options out there. I feel like that's the clunkiest thing from it of having to log in to multiple different things to get things accomplished for one client from that. And that's a learning process that I'm learning through and seeing what's out there. I mean, those growing pains they're from it. I always say like I learned the most from from my failures and the things I just kind of stumbled upon. But I think if it was a way that can be a one-stop shop that this is your EMR system, everything's integrated into here from it where you're not having to log out and do multiple things and remember the different logins, I think as well.
And then how do you handle things like, following up with your patients to make sure that they're engaged, in their health in this process? What are like innovative ways that you've come up with?
Yes, it's reach out. From it, I do have a weekly email that goes out to my clients, giving them tips, updates, kind of check-ins from a global basis. And the individual level, after we develop a plan from it, we have check-in points, and we agree upon that together. Is it a week? Is it 2 weeks? What does that look like for you for check-ins? And check-ins can be: is it a message to the portal from it, or maybe you've sent an email, or you're scheduling an appointment? It's that point to know that we're in this together from it. We're not doing this alone. Community, we thrive in that. So those personal outreaches and being specific to them. I found even myself as a woman, like you could get information on something and you're back into your day to day pieces. So to have someone to reach out, it's like, you know what, Shakeeka, how are you doing? How are things are going from this that check in basis, whether it's going well or not, from it, an opportunity to make adjustments from it and to knowing that you're not alone is important. So that's worked out really well for me just from those personal touches.
Yeah. And then you always need that personal touch, even with all media and technology nowadays. That's really important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just easier things to get kind of white noise and things from it and silenced
Yes.
out.
And then again, looking kind of like at your day to day, your business, what's working really well that you would never want to lose right now?
What I would not want to lose is authenticity from it. Me being able to be myself with my clients, with it, and that's something that I cherish like to my heart, and being able to always hold on. Always when I'm looking at different business things, and as you think about growth from it, that's one thing you always were like: do you lose yourself? How do you stay authentic to yourself as the growth piece of it? And that's something I'm continuously making sure that's in the forefront. Because no matter how big or small like the area is, being able to be myself and from it to share my experiences, to listen to you, for us to laugh from or to be angry. That's not right. That's horrible that we're going through this, or that you're going through this, and from it to share that. And that's something that I cherish and want to continue to cherish as growth continues.
And the alternative too, what's been harder than expected despite all the effort that you've put into it?
I think the harder than expected is moving from being an employee to an employer from it. And that's putting on that CEO mindset with it. I'm a loving, giving person from it. So sometimes that can get the best of me. Do I want to give you? I want to be there to support you. But then remembering that business aspect from it, how that converts, how does that help to build that community? Align with my mission, my vision, the values from that. And that's something I'm continuing to learn and to grow. And it's truly for me changing that mindset and from it. And I really think it's a mindset shift. Oftentimes we can like, oh, we're going to start this business, or we're going to start this new career and things from it. But we're still coming up with the baggage and the things we've learned from all alone. And being able to identify that I have to relearn things and accept things that they're going to be uncomfortable, especially for an introvert like me, to step out and getting out into networking and things, as well as stepping out of that comfort zone for sure.
Yeah, you definitely have to step out and do things that may not feel as comfortable, but you grow in that way. You learn, right? So
Yes. And not
yeah,
feeling like things have to be perfect. I think when I very first started, I held on to my first video before I posted it for 3 months. And as now as I think about, like, look at that time that went by, like 3 months. And I've learned now is it doesn't have to be perfect, like to post it from it. You're
No.
gonna have some that like, some that don't. You're gonna have some that, it's gonna be mixed, but posting it. And you're speaking to that one person. And I've learned, over these past, several months of that I can't care for everyone. And it's that one specific person that you're gonna be able to speak to. And that's who you're speaking to and making that content. And that's really is helping to, that mindset thing that I talked about beforehand and that growth piece of it that I don't have to please everyone and I'm not for everyone. And being able to accept that for myself, like that's hard. And that's been a shift change
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. Because it sounds like you want to help everyone, but you're realizing you can't realistically. Admirable
Yes.
goal, but like you can't help everyone. So,
Yes.
yeah. And if you're looking like even long term now, like 6 to 12 months, what are your long term goals? Where you go?
Yes. Of course, I want my business to grow from it to have that growth. But when I think about growth, I think more about impact and not so much as the numbers from it. You could have a lot of numbers but not have the impact there. And I want to have like the impact and at your heart, buckling up with you, got you in your boots on together and piece of it. So I would love to be able, to be on, speaking at different events and conferences from it, helping to, collaborate with different drives, especially like this month, September is perimenopause, awareness month and what we can do to help to bring that awareness. We've done like amazing things over the past few years from it, but I don't want us to lose that momentum. So being able to be the catalyst and the drive of things, a partner with different organizations and corporations from that, but then able to remove stigmas that we have as women, as we have within our individual cultures and even as a society, how we operate as a community and thinking about what evidence-based research, evidence-based practice, how we communicate and listen to one another. I want to be able to have that as my forefront in growth and impact into the community.
Yeah. And then if you had, I always ask people this question: if you had a magic wand to fix something within your business today, what would it be?
For me, a magic wand. I think the biggest thing for me, if I had a magic wand, it was knowing conversion. Conversion would be is like one of my pitfalls, from it and how to convert and understand the psychology behind converting with it. Would love to have kind of that magic wand to understand piece how you're speaking, how the things that you're writing, the video the piece of it, how that impacts now, but also like longevity piece of it. So I love to have that.
Yeah, of course. So you keep growing, keep reinvesting, and
Yeah,
more exciting things to come, right?
for sure. Yes.
Yeah. And, as we're getting to the end of the podcast here, where can people find you if they want to learn more, have a deeper dive discussion?
Yeah, it's amazing. You can find me. My website is Wellness Thryva. Thryva is THRYA.com. There you can book appointments. There's tons of resources that's there as well. There's quizzes. There's how to talk to your provider, tips and tracking systems. I am also on social media under Perimenopause Practitioner. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I also have a Substack. If you like know more of a story and vision kind of point, that's more I write in Substack. And on my LinkedIn page under Shakeeka Misher, as where I talk a lot more from provider standpoint, women as well too, but how we can change our mindset as provider, how we can think differently or supporting one another or our clients, which is important as well.
And thank you for the great conversation today. And I'm sure our audience will get a lot out of it. And thank you again for your time.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.